There is an island sitting right between Britain and Ireland that most people can't even find on a map. Yet this tiny speck of land hides medieval castles, ancient Celtic mysteries, the world's most dangerous motorcycle race, and a cost of living so low you could survive comfortably on just $600 a month. The locals speak a language that was supposedly dead but came back to life. They still believe in fairies, and the women? Well, let us just say the scenery isn't the only thing that is breathtaking on the Isle of Man. But here is the kicker. While London landlords are charging $3,000 for a closet with a window, you could be living in a place where crime is practically non-existent. Everyone knows your name. And your biggest worry is whether you remember to greet the fairies when crossing their bridge. This isn't some remote tropical paradise either. This is a sophisticated, modern island with fiber internet, excellent healthcare, and tax benefits that would make your accountant weep tears of joy. So grab a cup of tea, because we're about to take you on a tour of Europe's best-kept secret, a place where Celtic tradition meets Viking heritage, where motorcycles fly at 200 miles per hour down narrow country roads, and where your dollar stretches so far you might think you've traveled back in time. This is the Isle of Man, and by the end of this story, you'll be wondering why you've never heard of it before. Nestled in the Irish Sea like a forgotten emerald, the Isle of Man occupies one of the most strategic positions in the British Isles, yet somehow manages to fly completely under the radar. This 32-mile-long island sits exactly 50 miles from Liverpool, 35 miles from Scotland, and 25 miles from Northern Ireland. On a clear day, you can actually see all three countries from the top of Sneeful, the island's highest peak. It's like living in the center of the universe, but nobody seems to remember you exist. What makes this place truly fascinating isn't just its location, it's its bizarre political status. The Isle of Man isn't part of the United Kingdom. It's not part of the European Union. It's what they call a crown dependency, which basically means it's King Charles' personal side project. The island has its own government, called Tynwald, which, by the way, is the oldest continuously operating parliament in the world, predating even the British House of Commons by several centuries. While Westminster argues about Brexit, the Manx just shrug and continue making their own decisions like they have for over 1,000 years. The island's landscape reads like something out of a fantasy novel. Rolling green hills sweep down to dramatic cliff faces that drop straight into the churning Irish Sea. Ancient stone circles dot the countryside, remnants of civilizations that were already old when the Romans were still figuring out how to build roads. The coastline stretches for 100 miles around an island you can drive across in 40 minutes. It is more twisted and intricate than a politician's promises. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about the Isle of Man's geography is how it has shaped the character of its people. Living on an island creates a certain mindset. You're reconnected to the world yet beautifully isolated from its chaos. There are no traffic jams here, no urban sprawl, no concrete jungles. The capital, Douglas, feels more like a charming seaside town than a proper city, with its Victorian promenade stretching along a perfect crescent bay. The weather? Well, it's Irish Sea weather, which means it changes more often than a teenager's mood. But here's the surprising part. It rarely gets extreme. Summers hover around 60 to 70°F, winters barely dip below 40°F. It rains, yes, but it's the kind of gentle, misty rain that makes everything impossibly green and gives you an excuse to spend more time in the cozy pubs. This geographical position has blessed the island with a unique cultural cocktail. The Celts arrived first, bringing their mystical traditions and that famous Celtic hospitality. Then came the Vikings, who weren't just raiders, but settlers who left their mark on everything from place names to the legal system. Later, English influence crept in, but it never completely erased what came before. The result? An island culture that's distinctly its own, neither fully British nor Irish, but something entirely unique. The infrastructure might surprise you. Despite having fewer than 85,000 residents, the Isle of Man boasts fiber internet that puts many major cities to shame, a healthcare system that actually works, and public transportation that runs on time. The Victorian-era steam railway still chugs along the coast like it has for 150 years, while modern buses connect every village and hamlet. It is like someone took the best parts of modern life and sprinkled them over a landscape. That hasn't changed much since medieval times. Step off the ferry in Douglas, and the first thing you'll notice isn't the Victorian architecture or the perfect harbor. It is the pace. People actually walk slowly here. They stop to chat on street corners. Shopkeepers know your name by your third visit. It's like someone hit the slow motion button on modern life. And everybody agreed it was a massive improvement. The daily rhythm of Manx life moves to a different drumbeat than anywhere else in Europe. Mornings start early, not because of stressful commutes, but because there is something genuinely pleasant about watching the sunrise over the Irish Sea. From your kitchen window, the commute to work, most people live within a 15-minute drive of their workplace. Traffic consists of getting stuck behind a tractor on a country lane, and even then, nobody seems particularly bothered. What strikes visitors most is the genuine sense of community that permeates every aspect of life here. In a place where everyone knows everyone, your reputation matters more than your bank account. People leave their doors unlocked, kids ride bikes without helmets. And the local newspaper's crime section usually consists of reports about stolen garden gnomes or complaints about noisy sheep. The Manx have managed to preserve their ancient language, Manx Gaelic, which technically died out in the 1970s when the last native speaker passed away. But here's where the story gets interesting. The island refused to let it stay dead. Today, there's a Manx medium primary school where children learn their lessons in the revived tongue. Parents who never heard Manx as children are now raising bilingual kids. It's like linguistic resurrection, and it shows the stubborn determination that defines the Manx character. Celtic traditions run through daily life like veins through marble. The island celebrates four ancient Celtic festivals throughout the year, marking the agricultural seasons with community gatherings that feel more like family reunions than formal events. Traditional music sessions happen in pubs every week, where grandparents teach teenagers ancient songs about fishermen, farmers, and fairy folk. But don't mistake this for some backward-looking society. The Isle of Man has embraced technology in ways that would make Silicon Valley jealous. The island was one of the first places in the world to have complete fiber internet coverage. E-commerce businesses thrive here, taking advantage of favorable tax laws and excellent digital infrastructure. Young Manx professionals work remotely for companies in London, New York, and Sydney while living in cottages that overlook medieval castles. The work culture emphasizes balance in ways that seem almost revolutionary to Americans or mainland Europeans. Most offices close by 5 p.m., and staying late is seen as poor planning rather than dedication. Lunch breaks are sacred. People actually leave their desks and go outside. The concept of working weekends exists, but it's treated as an emergency measure, not a lifestyle choice. Shopping happens at a pace that would drive New Yorkers insane. Local butchers still know how you like your meat cut. The greengrocer saves the best vegetables for regular customers. Markets happen weekly in town squares, where farmers sell produce that was growing in the ground yesterday. It's capitalism with a human face, commerce that hasn't forgotten its roots in actual human relationships. Education maintains a distinctly Manx character too. Children learn about their island's unique history, from Viking raids to modern motorcycle racing. Many schools incorporate outdoor education, taking advantage of the fact that no child lives more than a few miles from both mountains and sea. University-bound students often leave for mainland universities, but increasingly, they return with new skills and fresh perspectives, bringing innovation without losing their cultural identity. The revival of Manx culture isn't museum piece preservation, it's living, breathing adaptation. Young people design modern clothes incorporating traditional Celtic patterns. Musicians blend ancient folk melodies with contemporary sounds. Even the food scene reflects this cultural confidence, with chefs creating modern interpretations of traditional Manx dishes using local ingredients. Perhaps most remarkably, the island has managed to modernize without losing its soul. You can video chat with colleagues in Tokyo in the morning and attend a traditional folk music session in the evening. You can order anything on Amazon and have it delivered, while also knowing the names of your neighbor's cats. It's the best of both worlds if you're willing to accept that the best world might be a smaller, slower one. When people think of British Isles cuisine, the they usually brace for culinary disappointment. The Isle of Man gleefully breaks that stereotype. This island has developed a food scene that combines traditional Celtic comfort food with fresh innovation, all while maintaining prices that won't require you to sell a kidney for dinner. The foundation of Manx cuisine rests on the sea that surrounds them. Manx kippers, herring smoked over oak chips, aren't just a local delicacy, they're a cultural institution. The process hasn't changed in centuries, with fish caught by local boats and smoked in traditional smockhouses that perfume entire villages with their aromatic output. Pair them with fresh eggs from free-range Manx hens and bread baked that morning, and you've got a breakfast that costs less than a London coffee, but tastes like heaven. But the island's culinary crown jewel might be its seafood scene. The cold, nutrient-rich waters around the island produce scallops the size of hockey pucks, sweet langoustines that make Mediterranean prawns weep with envy, and cod so fresh it practically swims onto your plate. Local fishing boats unload their catch directly to restaurants and markets, meaning your dinner was probably swimming in the Irish Sea that morning. The traditional Manx comfort food scene centers around hearty, warming dishes that make sense in a climate where the weather changes faster than a toddler's mood. Tatty soup, a thick potato soup enriched with local bacon, could resurrect the dead after a cold day exploring ancient castles. Bannog, a traditional Manx bread that's part cake, part energy bar, sustained generations of farmers and fishermen. Baked fresh daily in local bakeries, it still costs less than a fancy coffee, but provides enough fuel to hike the entire island. What surprises newcomers is the sophistication of the modern food scene. Layered on top of these traditions, young chefs are returning from training in London and Dublin with skills and ambition, but they're adapting their techniques to showcase local ingredients, rather than importing expensive exotica. The result is restaurant meals that would cost $100 in Manhattan, but here run $25 to $30 for multiple courses featuring ingredients sourced within a 10-mile radius. The pub culture deserves its own celebration. Manx pubs aren't just places to drink, they're community centers, cultural hubs, and informal restaurants rolled into one. Most serve food that puts many dedicated restaurants to shame. Fish and chips made from today's catch, steak and kidney pies where you can taste the pasture the cow grazed on, and plowman's lunches featuring local cheeses that have won international awards. Speaking of beverages, the island's craft beer scene punches way above its weight class. Local breweries like O'Kell's have been perfecting their craft for over 150 years, creating ales that perfectly complement the island's hearty cuisine. Newer craft breweries experiment with flavors that incorporate local ingredients. Seaweed-infused stouts, wild herb ales, and seasonal brews that capture the essence of Manx agriculture. Coffee culture has exploded on the island in recent years, with independent roasters creating cafe scenes that rival European capitals. The difference? Your morning latte costs half what it would in London, and the barista probably knows your name, your dog's name, and how you take your coffee before you even order. The farmers' markets showcase the island's agricultural abundance. Root vegetables are grown in soil enriched by centuries of seaweed fertilization. Lamb raised on hillsides dotted with wild herbs, and dairy products from cows that graze pastures overlooking the sea. Everything tastes more intense, more flavorful than its supermarket equivalent, yet often costs less than imported alternatives. Local specialties reflect the island's unique position between cultures. Manx Queenie scallops, smaller than their European cousins but intensely sweet, often appear simply grilled with local butter and herbs. Crabs caught in pots around the rocky coastline become the base for soups and salads that showcase their delicate flavor. Even humble vegetables like leeks and potatoes achieve remarkable flavor when grown in the island's rich, maritime-influenced soil. The tea culture maintains that particularly British reverence for the afternoon cuppa, but with distinctly Manx twists. Local bakeries produce treats that accompany tea service, bannog, and barm cakes that soak up the ceremony of afternoon tea, without the pretension found in more touristy destinations. Restaurant pricing remains refreshingly reasonable. A three-course meal at a good restaurant runs $20 to $35 per person. Pub meals range from $8 to $15. Even fine dining establishments, which would charge $100 per head in major cities, typically top out around $60 to $80 for elaborate tasting menus featuring the best local ingredients. The grocery situation might surprise budget-conscious visitors. Local produce often costs less than imported alternatives, and the quality gap is enormous. A bag of potatoes from a local farm costs $3 and tastes like something your great-grandmother would recognize. Local cheese, bread, and meat prices remain reasonable because there's still actual competition between small producers. Rather than corporate consolidation, the Isle of Man has mastered the art of being simultaneously ancient and timeless. This island doesn't just have beauty, it has the kind of mystical, otherworldly beauty that makes rational people start believing in fairy tales. When locals tell you to greet the fairies at the ferry bridge, they're not being quaint for tourists. They actually believe it, and after spending time here, you might start believing it too. The island's approach to beauty is refreshingly authentic. There are no artificial attractions trying to compete with the natural landscape. Why would there be? Nature already did all the heavy lifting here. The coastline alternates between gentle sandy beaches, perfect for summer strolls, and dramatic cliff faces that drop hundreds of feet into churning seas. The contrast is stunning. One moment you're walking along a peaceful shore collecting shells, the next you're standing on precipices that make your vertigo kick in. Dating culture on the Isle of Man operates under different rules than mainland Europe or America. In a place where everyone knows everyone, your romantic reputation precedes you like a medieval herald. This creates both opportunities and challenges. On the plus side, genuine connections happen more easily when social media profiles matter less than actual character. People date more intentionally here. There is no point in playing games when your date's cousin probably went to school with your sister. The island's women embody a unique blend of Celtic independence and natural beauty. That comes from a lifestyle many city dwellers can only dream about. When your daily routine includes walks along dramatic coastlines, fresh air that actually smells clean, and stress levels that don't require medication, it shows. The natural beauty here isn't Instagram filtered, it's the real deal, enhanced by active outdoor lifestyles and genuine contentment. Social scenes center around community activities rather than anonymous urban nightlife. Dating often starts at folk music sessions, hiking groups, sailing clubs, or volunteer activities. It's social connection through shared interests rather than alcohol-fueled encounters in crowded bars. This creates stronger foundations for relationships, though it means your dating pool is more limited than in major cities. The nightlife scene reflects the island's size and character. Don't expect Las Vegas-style entertainment, but don't underestimate the quality of what's available. Pubs host live music several nights per week, featuring everything from traditional Celtic sessions to contemporary bands. The island's musicians are remarkably talented, partly because good musicians from larger places sometimes relocate here for the quality of life. Summer brings outdoor concerts and festivals that showcase the island's natural amphitheaters. Music performances happen in castle courtyards, on clifftop stages, and in the island's glens and valleys. The combination of professional entertainment and genuinely magical settings creates experiences that expensive concert venues struggle to match. Social activities embrace the island's outdoor opportunities in ways that shape local culture. Hiking groups explore different parts of the island each weekend. Cycling clubs take advantage of roads with minimal traffic and maximum scenery. Sailing and water sports thrive in the surrounding Irish Sea, weather permitting. These activities create natural social mixing that breaks down usual social barriers. The island's size means cultural events draw broad community participation. Art exhibitions showcase local talent alongside visiting artists. Theater productions often feature community members alongside professionals. Literary events, craft fairs, and seasonal celebrations become genuine community gatherings rather than commercial enterprises. Romance flourishes in settings that seem designed by Hollywood set designers. Sunset walks along Port Erin Beach, picnics in glens where streams tumble through ancient woodlands, or exploring castle ruins while discussing island legends. It's dating with built-in atmosphere. The natural beauty provides romantic backdrops without requiring expensive dinner reservations or elaborate planning. The island's famous TT Tourist Trophy motorcycle races transform the social scene. For 2 weeks each year, Visitors from around the world arrive for what many consider the ultimate motorcycle racing event. This influx creates opportunities to meet people from everywhere while showcasing the island to potential future residents. Many expats trace their first awareness of the Isle of Man to TT visits. That turned into permanent relocations. Local festivals celebrate both ancient traditions and contemporary culture. The island's Celtic heritage provides excuse for celebrations that feel genuinely meaningful. Rather than manufactured for tourist consumption, traditional music, dance, storytelling, and crafts maintain connections to cultural roots while creating social opportunities for modern islanders. Beauty standards here emphasize authenticity over artificial enhancement. The outdoor lifestyle, clean environment, and relaxed pace of life contribute to a population that looks healthier and more content than their urban counterparts. There's less pressure for expensive beauty treatments when natural living provides better results than most cosmetic interventions. The Isle of Man hasn't just preserved its ancient traditions, it has kept them alive, breathing, and evolving. This isn't historical reenactment or tourist theater. These are living customs that shape the rhythm of modern life on the island. The result is a cultural calendar that connects contemporary islanders to thousands of years of Celtic and Norse heritage while creating genuine community celebration. Hoptuna, celebrated on October 31st, predates Halloween by centuries and puts American trick-or-treating to shame. This Celtic New Year celebration involves the entire community in ways that make modern festivals look artificial by comparison. Children carve turnip lanterns, not pumpkins, which are a recent American import, and go door-to-door or singing traditional Manx songs in exchange for treats. But here's what makes it special. The adults participate just as enthusiastically as the children. The songs themselves are ancient, passed down through generations with lyrics that tell stories of island life, supernatural encounters, and seasonal changes. Hoptuna, trololay echoes through neighborhoods as groups move from house to house, carrying their flickering turnip lanterns and maintaining connections between neighbors that social media can never replicate. Bonfires burn on beaches and hilltops, creating gathering points where entire communities share food, drink, and stories that blend ancient folklore with contemporary gossip. But Hoptuna represents just 1/4 of the island's seasonal celebration cycle. Manx culture maintains all for ancient Celtic festivals, each marking crucial agricultural and spiritual transitions. These aren't quaint historical curiosities. They rate genuine community celebrations that provide structure and meaning to island life in ways that seem almost revolutionary to visitors from more disconnected societies. The Spring Festival of Boldon celebrates renewal and fertility with traditions that would make your grandmother blush. Young people still gather flowers and greenery to decorate homes and public spaces, while community dances and music sessions celebrate the return of warmth and growth. It's paganism adapted for modern sensibilities, maintaining the joy and community connection while losing the more, shall we say, explicit aspects of ancient fertility celebrations. Summer solstice brings midsummer celebrations that transform the island into something approaching Celtic paradise. Music sessions happen in pub gardens and village squares. Traditional foods appear at community gatherings. Bonfires burn late into the short night, surrounded by islanders sharing songs, stories, and local brew. These celebrations feel organic rather than organized. They happen because people want them to happen, not because tourism boards mandate them. The Autumn Harvest Festival, Lugnasad, celebrates agricultural abundance with farmers' markets, craft fairs, and food festivals that showcase the island's remarkable productivity. Local producers compete in friendly rivalry to present the best vegetables, fruits, baked goods, and preserved foods. It's community celebration grounded in genuine appreciation for local agriculture and traditional skills that remain economically viable. Traditional music maintains its central role in island culture through weekly sessions in pubs throughout the island. These aren't performances for tourists. They rate community gatherings where musicians of all skill levels participate in an ancient tradition of shared music making. Fiddles, whistles, bodhrans, and voices blend in traditional tunes that have survived centuries because they capture something essential about human experience. The Manx language revival represents perhaps the most remarkable cultural resurrection of modern times. When Ned Madrill, the last native Manx speaker, died in 1974, linguists declared the language extinct. The Manx disagreed. Parents began teaching their children a language they had to learn themselves from old recordings. Schools incorporated Manx lessons. Road signs became bilingual. Today, children grow up bilingual in English and Manx, speaking a language that was supposedly dead before they were born. This linguistic revival is an academic exercise. It reflects deeper cultural confidence. The Manx decided that their unique identity was worth preserving and developing, rather than abandoning for easier assimilation into broader British or Irish culture. The result is a society that maintains its distinctiveness while remaining completely modern and internationally connected. Traditional crafts maintain economic viability alongside cultural significance. Local artisans produce textiles, pottery, woodwork, and metalwork using traditional techniques adapted for contemporary markets. These aren't museum pieces, they're functional items for modern life, created using skills passed down through generations but adapted for current needs and aesthetics. The island's storytelling tradition has adapted to modern media while maintaining its essential character. Local radio programs feature traditional tales alongside contemporary stories. Writers continue producing literature in both English and Manx. Oral tradition adapts to include contemporary island experiences alongside ancient legends of giants, fairies, and supernatural encounters. Religious traditions reflect the island's complex cultural heritage. Ancient Celtic Christianity blends with Methodist influences and contemporary spiritual practices. Churches maintain active congregations while accommodating diverse beliefs. Sacred sites from pre-Christian times remain respected and visited, creating spiritual landscape that acknowledges multiple layers of belief and tradition. Seasonal foods maintain strong connections between culture and agriculture. Traditional preserving techniques ensure local abundance extends through winter months. Seasonal specialties appear at appropriate times, fresh herring in summer, preserved meats in winter, wild foods gathered according to ancient knowledge of island ecology. It's sustainable living based on centuries of accumulated wisdom about island life. Hear us where the Isle of Man becomes truly fascinating for budget-conscious adventurers. You genuinely can live comfortably here on $600 per month. If you're willing to adapt to island life, this isn't backpacker survival mode or eating ramen every night. We're talking about a legitimate, comfortable lifestyle that includes proper housing, good food, transportation, entertainment, and even some savings for the future. Let's break down the real numbers, because this is where the Isle of Man reveals its most compelling secret. Housing, typically the largest expense anywhere, becomes surprisingly affordable when you understand the local market. A room in a shared house in Douglas, the capital, runs to $100 to $300 per month including utilities. These aren't student hovels. We're talking about proper Victorian houses with character, decent kitchens, and often gardens. Shared accommodation here means living with working professionals, not college students, creating living situations that feel more like intentional communities than random roommate arrangements. For those willing to venture outside Douglas, housing costs drop even further. Villages like Peel, Ramsey, or Castletown offer rooms for $150 to $250 monthly, often in houses with sea views or countryside access that would cost thousands elsewhere. The trade-off? You'll need to plan your transportation more carefully, but given the island's size, remote still means being within a 30-minute bus ride of everything important. Food expenses showcase where smart shopping really pays off. Local produce costs less than imported alternatives and tastes dramatically better. A weekly grocery budget of $40 to $50 covers fresh vegetables, local meat, dairy products, and basic staples when you shop at local markets and independent shops, rather than convenience stores. The island's agricultural abundance means seasonal eating isn't just environmentally conscious, it's economically smart. Cooking at home becomes easier when local ingredients actually taste like something. Vegetables grown in sea-enriched soil, meat from animals raised on herb-rich pastures, and dairy products from genuinely grass-fed cows transform simple meals into memorable experiences. You'll find yourself cooking more and eating out less, not from financial necessity, but because home-cooked meals taste better than most restaurant alternatives. Transportation costs remain minimal due to the island's excellent public transport system and compact size. Monthly bus passes cost $40 and provide access to the entire island network. Many residents cycle or walk for daily activities, treating car ownership as optional rather than essential. The savings extend beyond transport costs, lower insurance, minimal parking fees, and reduced wear and tear mean transportation expenses that would cripple urban budgets become manageable line items. Entertainment and social costs operate on island pricing, meaning everything from pub meals to cinema tickets cost significantly less than mainland equivalents. A pint of local ale costs $3 to $4, restaurant meals range from $8 to $15, and cultural events often charge minimal admission or operate on donation basis. The island's size means most social activities happen within walking distance of wherever you live. Healthcare provides exceptional value through the island's reciprocal agreement with the UK National Health Service. Residents and eligible visitors receive free healthcare that includes dental and optical services. This eliminates health insurance costs that devour budgets in many countries, while providing care that consistently ranks among Europe's best. Utilities deserve special mention because they're included in most rental arrangements. When landlords quote rent prices, they typically include heating, electricity, water, and often internet access. This eliminates the budget uncertainty that plagues tenants in many locations, while island-wide fiber internet provides connectivity that rivals major cities. The secret to successful budget living here lies in embracing island culture rather than fighting it. Shopping at farmers' markets provides better food for less money than supermarkets. Participating in community activities provides entertainment and social connection. Without commercial pricing, outdoor activities take advantage of natural beauty that doesn't require admission fees or expensive equipment. Seasonal employment opportunities can supplement tight budgets, particularly during TT racing periods when temporary work becomes plentiful. Many budget-conscious residents work additional hours during tourist seasons, earning premium wages that subsidize quieter periods. The seasonal nature of tourism creates opportunities for flexible workers, willing to adapt their schedules. Budget management becomes easier when major expenses remain stable and predictable. Rent doesn't fluctuate wildly, transportation costs remain constant, and food expenses vary with personal choices rather than market manipulation. This stability allows for actual financial planning rather than constant crisis management. Personal services cost significantly less than urban equivalents. Haircuts, basic healthcare, and maintenance services reflect local wage scales rather than inflated city pricing. Many services operate through personal relationships and community connections, creating opportunities for bartering and mutual assistance that further stretch limited budgets. The psychological benefits of budget living in a beautiful, safe environment shouldn't be underestimated. Stretching $600 monthly while surrounded by natural beauty, engaged in meaningful community, and living without constant financial stress creates quality of life that much higher incomes struggle to achieve in expensive urban environments. Transportation on the Isle of Man offers something genuinely unique, a system that combines Victorian-era charm with modern efficiency, creating travel experiences that are destinations in themselves rather than necessary evils. This isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It is about moving through landscapes and history in ways that make the journey as memorable as the destination. The Isle of Man Steam Railway, operating since 1874, isn't a tourist gimmick. It has functioning public transport that happens to use beautifully maintained Victorian locomotives. The line runs 15 miles from Douglas to Port Erin, following the southern coast through countryside that looks like it was designed by someone with excellent taste and unlimited time. The carriages are original Victorian stock, complete with compartments, proper windows, and that particular atmosphere that only comes from wood polish, brass fittings, and more than a century of satisfied passengers. But here's what makes it special. Locals use it for actual transportation. You'll share compartments with islanders commuting to work, students heading to school, and elderly residents visiting family. The conversations happen naturally in a way that modern transport rarely encourages. By the time you reach Port Erin, you'll have learned more about island life than most guidebooks provide. The Manx Electric Railway extends the vintage transport experience northward using trams that have been running since 1893. This is reconstructed heritage transport. These are the original trams, lovingly maintained and still providing daily service. The route follows the coast from Douglas to Ramsey, stopping at villages and attractions along the way during summer months. The trams run frequently enough for spontaneous travel, while winter schedules require more planning but offer equally charming experiences. The Sneefel Mountain Railway represents the ultimate transportation adventure, a narrow-gauge railway that climbs to the island's highest peak using electric trams that have conquered this mountain for over 120 years. The journey takes 30 minutes each way, climbing through landscapes that transition from coastal views to mountain panoramas. On clear days, the summit provides views of England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales for countries visible from one mountain peak. Modern bus services integrate seamlessly with heritage railways, creating comprehensive public transport that reaches every corner of the island. The bus network operates with Swiss efficiency and British politeness, providing services that actually arrive on time and connect logical destinations. Monthly passes provide unlimited travel throughout the island, making car ownership optional rather than essential for many residents. Cycling culture thrives on roads designed before cars existed, creating cycling experiences that combine safety with scenery. Most roads feature minimal traffic, spectacular views, and grades that challenge fitness enthusiasts without requiring professional athlete conditioning. The TT course, famous for motorcycle racing, becomes a cycling pilgrimage for enthusiasts willing to tackle 37 miles of challenging terrain. Through some of Europe's most beautiful landscapes, walking remains the most intimate way to experience island geography, with footpaths that provide access to virtually every corner of the landscape. The Rod Ny Foylan Road of the Gull circles the entire island, providing 95 miles of coastal walking that showcases cliffs, beaches, villages, and wildlife. Shorter walks connect inland attractions, following ancient tracks that predate recorded history while providing modern waymarking and maintenance. Ferry services connect the island to Liverpool, Heysham, Belfast, and Dublin, with modern vessels that make the journey comfortable rather than endured. The Steam Packet Company has been providing services since 1830, creating ferry travel that feels more like cruise experiences than utilitarian transport. Car decks accommodate those who prefer driving, while foot passengers enjoy comfortable lounges, dining facilities, and deck access for sea air and scenery. For residents, transportation choices reflect lifestyle preferences rather than economic necessities. Many islanders own cars but use them sparingly, preferring public transport, cycling, or walking for daily activities. Car ownership costs remain reasonable due to lower insurance rates, minimal congestion, and parking that doesn't require mortgage financing. The island's compact size means transportation planning becomes simple rather than complex. Nothing is more than an hour away by any transport method, while most destinations remain within 30 minutes. This accessibility encourages exploration and spontaneous travel in ways that larger places discourage through complexity and expense. Seasonal variations affect transport schedules, but rarely eliminate services entirely. Winter timetables reduce frequency rather than canceling services, while summer schedules increase options for both residents and visitors. The seasonal rhythms create predictable patterns that locals incorporate into their lifestyle planning. Transportation infrastructure maintenance receives priority attention, ensuring reliability that many urban systems struggle to achieve. Railway tracks receive regular attention. Roads stay well maintained despite weather challenges, and bus fleets operate with mechanical reliability that reflects careful management rather than profit maximization. The integration between different transport modes creates seamless journeys that feel planned rather than accidental. Bus schedules coordinate with railway timetables, ferry arrivals connect with onward transport, and cycling facilities integrate with public transport stops. This coordination reflects island-scale planning where everything connects because everything can. The Isle of Man landscape reads like a medieval fantasy novel, written by someone who actually lived through the medieval period. This isn't reconstructed history or theme park medievalism. These are genuine castle ruins, ancient stone circles, and landscapes that have remained essentially unchanged for thousands of years. The island offers more authentic historical experiences per square mile than anywhere else in the British Isles, with the added advantage that you can see it all without battling tour bus crowds or paying premium admission fees. Peel Castle dominates the western coastline from its position on St. Patrick's Isle, connected to the mainland by a causeway that disappears during high tides. The ruins span more than 1,000 years of construction, from Celtic monastery foundations through Norse fortifications to medieval cathedral remains. What makes it extraordinary isn't just the architecture, it's the setting. Standing among these ruins, while Atlantic waves crash against the rocks below creates experiences that Hollywood spends millions trying to recreate artificially. The castle grounds contain the ruins of St. Patrick's Cathedral, where medieval bishops ruled the island's spiritual life while Viking kings controlled its temporal affairs. The Round Tower, built in the 11th century, still stands as a monument to Celtic Christian architecture that predates the Norman conquest. Archaeological excavations continue revealing new aspects of the site's complex history, including Viking graves and Celtic artifacts that push the occupation back centuries earlier than previously thought. Castle Rushen, in the medieval capital of Castletown, represents one of Europe's best preserved medieval castles. Unlike many castle ruins that require imagination to visualize their former glory, Castle Rushen remains largely intact, with complete walls, towers, and internal structures that demonstrate medieval castle life in remarkable detail. The Great Hall, private chambers, and defensive works provide authentic medieval architecture without modern additions or reconstructive guesswork. But the castle serves more than historical curiosity. It housed the island's government for centuries, hosting parliamentary sessions in its Great Hall and serving as royal residence for the kings and lords of Man. The throne room still contains the chair where medieval rulers held court, making this functional government architecture rather than purely military fortification. The Great Laxey Wheel, known affectionately as Lady Isabella, represents Victorian engineering at its most ambitious and beautiful. Built in 1854 to drain water from lead mines, this 72-foot water wheel remains the world's largest working water wheel, painted in distinctive red and white that makes it visible for miles. The wheel continues operating as it has for 170 years, pumping water with the same Victorian engineering that created railways, bridges, and buildings that still function perfectly today. The wheel sits in Laxey Glen, a valley that demonstrates how human industry can enhance rather than destroy natural beauty. The mining heritage created terraced landscapes, stone walls, and water channels that have matured into gardens populated by wild plants and visiting wildlife. Walking trails connect the wheel to mine shafts, processing buildings, and workers' cottages that tell the complete story of Victorian mining communities. Ancient stone circles dot the landscape like prehistoric monuments to forgotten ceremonies and astronomical observations. The most impressive, Meal Circle, contains multiple stone circles and burial chambers that predate Stonehenge by centuries. These aren't tourist attractions. They're reworking archaeological sites where research continues revealing new information about the island's prehistoric inhabitants. The ferry bridges scattered throughout the island represent more than tourist curiosities. They relay living folklore that contemporary islanders maintain with complete seriousness. The most famous bridge on the Santon to Castletown Road requires travelers to greet the fairies or risk supernatural consequences. Locals comply without irony, treating fairy acknowledgement as natural courtesy rather than superstitious behavior. Coastal geology creates landscapes that seem designed by someone with unlimited budgets and excellent taste. The chasms near Port Erin demonstrate how Atlantic storms can carve solid rock into cathedral-like caverns. The Sound, separating the main island from the Calf of Man, creates tidal races that challenge even experienced sailors while providing spectacular viewing for land-based observers. Natural glens throughout the island provide woodland environments that feel genuinely wild. Despite centuries of human habitation, these valleys contain streams, waterfalls, and ancient woodland that support wildlife populations rarely seen in more developed locations. Walking through Dune Glen or Glen May provides nature experiences that require wilderness expeditions in most countries. The Calf of Man, a small island off the southern coast, serves as nature reserve and bird observatory that attracts species from throughout Europe and beyond. Puffins nest on the cliffs during summer months, while migratory birds use the island as a crucial stopover during Atlantic crossings. Day trips to the Calf provide wilderness experiences within sight of civilization. Tynewald Hill, an artificial mound in the center of the island, serves as the outdoor parliament where laws must be proclaimed in both English and Manx to become fully valid. This ceremony happens annually on July 5th, maintaining political traditions that predate most European nations. The hill itself represents Norse political architecture, demonstrating how Viking democracy adapted to Celtic landscapes. Archaeological sites throughout the island continue yielding new discoveries that revise understanding of prehistoric British Isles. Culture. Recent excavations have revealed sophisticated Bronze Age communities, extensive Roman period trading connections, and early Christian sites that demonstrate the island's importance in medieval Celtic Christianity. The Isle of Man operates according to social rules that seem almost fictional to visitors from larger, more anonymous places. This is a society where crime exists mainly as newspaper statistics rather than daily concerns, where healthcare actually focuses on keeping people healthy, and where community trust isn't nostalgic wishful thinking but practical reality that shapes how everyone lives. Safety statistics tell a remarkable story. The island consistently ranks as one of the safest places in Europe, with crime rates so low that local police spend more time helping elderly residents with household problems than investigating serious crimes. The annual crime report reads like a catalog of minor misdemeanors, bicycle thefts, pub disturbances, and domestic disputes that get resolved through community intervention rather than judicial punishment. Violent crime remains so rare that incidents make island-wide news and generate genuine community shock. Most residents can't remember the last time they felt genuinely unsafe anywhere on the island. Day or night, children walk to school unaccompanied, elderly people live independently without fear, and visitors from major cities often comment on how long it takes them to relax enough to leave. Doors unlocked or walk alone after dark. This safety emerges from community structure rather than heavy policing. In a place where everyone knows everyone, antisocial behavior becomes self-defeating because reputation affects every aspect of daily life. Criminal activity becomes practically impossible when potential victims are your neighbors, relatives, and police officers grew up down the street from your family. Healthcare on the Isle of Man operates through reciprocal agreements with the UK National Health Service, providing residents and eligible visitors with comprehensive medical care. That includes services many Americans pay thousands to access: general practice, hospital care, dental services, and optical care remain free at point of service while maintaining quality standards that consistently rank among Europe's best. The Nobles Hospital in Douglas provides full-service medical care including emergency services, surgery, and specialized treatments that eliminate the need for most mainland medical travel. The facility operates with modern equipment and techniques while maintaining the personal attention that becomes possible when medical staff know their patients as community members, rather than anonymous cases. Mental health services reflect island understanding that psychological well-being connects directly to community integration and natural environment access. Treatment emphasizes community support, outdoor activities, and social connection rather than purely pharmaceutical approaches. The island's natural beauty and social cohesion provide therapeutic environments that complement professional mental health care. Dental and optical services maintain accessibility that has disappeared from many healthcare systems. Regular checkups, routine treatments, and emergency care remain available without insurance complications or financial barriers. Many residents receive better health care than their mainland counterparts, while paying significantly less through taxation that actually funds services. Rather than administrative bureaucracy, emergency services operate with efficiency enhanced by island geography and community cooperation. Ambulance response times remain short because distances stay manageable, and local knowledge helps emergency crews navigate quickly to any location. Fire and rescue services receive community support that includes volunteer assistance, and local knowledge crucial for effective emergency response. The island's pharmacy services provide medication access that combines professional oversight with personal attention rarely found in larger places. Pharmacists know their customers' medical histories, potential drug interactions, and family health concerns that affect prescription decisions. This personal knowledge improves medication safety while reducing costs through more targeted prescribing. Preventive health care receives emphasis through community programs that encourage healthy lifestyle choices while making them accessible and affordable. Walking groups, cycling clubs, swimming programs, and outdoor activities receive official support as health initiatives, rather than purely recreational activities. The connection between physical activity and healthcare costs gets recognized through policies that promote active lifestyles. Elderly care demonstrates community values through services that maintain independence and dignity, while providing necessary support. Home care services, community centers, and social programs enable aging residents to remain in their homes and communities, rather than institutional settings. The approach recognizes that social connection and familiar environments contribute significantly to health outcomes. Child safety extends beyond preventing accidents to creating environments where children develop confidence, independence, and community connections. Schools coordinate with parents and community organizations to provide supervision that doesn't restrict age-appropriate freedom and exploration. Children learn to navigate their community safely while developing the social skills and local knowledge that contribute to lifelong safety. Workplace safety reflects employment relationships based on mutual respect and long-term community connections. Employers and employees often have personal relationships that extend beyond work, creating incentives for maintaining safe working conditions and fair treatment. Union representation exists, but operates through cooperation rather than confrontation, recognizing shared community interests. Housing safety benefits from construction standards enforced by regulators who live in the same communities they oversee. Building codes get maintained through personal accountability as well as professional requirements, while neighborhood oversight provides informal monitoring that supplements official inspections. Navigating the legal requirements for living and working on the Isle of Man involves understanding a unique political status that creates both opportunities and complications for international residents. The island's position as a crown dependency means it operates its own immigration system, while maintaining connections to UK policies, creating a framework that rewards understanding but punishes assumptions. Work permit requirements depend heavily on your citizenship and the type of employment you're seeking. British and Irish citizens enjoy significant advantages due to historical agreements, while other EU nationals navigate post-Brexit changes that affect their status differently. Then in the UK proper, Americans, Canadians, and other non-European citizens face more complex requirements, but still find pathways to legal employment. The island operates a points-based system that prioritizes skills shortages and economic contribution over simple labor availability. Healthcare professionals, IT specialists, and financial services experts find relatively straightforward pathways to work permits, while general laborers face more restrictive requirements designed to protect local employment opportunities. Self-employment and entrepreneurship receive more favorable treatment than in many jurisdictions, reflecting the island's business-friendly policies. In recognition that small businesses drive much of the local economy, the application process requires demonstrating financial viability and community benefit rather than navigating complex bureaucratic requirements designed to discourage applications. Students find opportunities through partnerships between island institutions and mainland universities, though the educational landscape remains limited compared to major population centers. Many young islanders pursue education elsewhere before returning with skills and experience that qualify them for enhanced employment opportunities. The taxation advantages that attract wealthy residents also benefit ordinary workers through lower effective tax rates on middle-class incomes. The island's tax structure eliminates many deductions and complications found elsewhere, while providing rates that leave more money in workers' pockets. However, understanding the tax implications requires professional advice, particularly for those maintaining financial connections to other countries. Housing rights for work permit holders include access to rental markets, without the restrictions found in some jurisdictions, though purchasing property may require additional permissions, depending on citizenship status and length of residence. The housing market operates with more personal relationships and community connections than anonymous urban markets. Healthcare access through reciprocal agreements provides significant advantages for UK and Irish citizens, while other nationalities may require private insurance or payment for services. Understanding healthcare entitlements before arrival prevents expensive surprises and ensures appropriate medical coverage. Banking and financial services recognize the island's international business focus through streamlined account opening and service provision for legal residents. However, international compliance requirements mean financial institutions require extensive documentation and may restrict services for residents of certain countries. Legal residency pathways exist for those willing to make long-term commitments to island life, though requirements reflect the island's small size and emphasis on community integration. Permanent residency and eventual citizenship remain possible for those who demonstrate genuine connection to island life rather than purely economic motivations. Family reunification policies allow spouses and children to join workers who have established legal residence, though proving relationship authenticity requires documentation that satisfies immigration. Officials concerned about marriage fraud and economic migration disguised as family reunification. Professional licensing requirements vary by industry, with some qualifications transferring easily while others require local validation or additional training. Healthcare professionals, lawyers, and other licensed practitioners should research requirements before relocating to avoid expensive delays or requalification requirements. The appeals process for rejected applications operates through island courts and administrative bodies that maintain local control over immigration decisions while respecting international legal standards. Legal representation remains available, though not always necessary for straightforward applications. Renewal procedures for work permits and residence status require maintaining employment, community connections, and financial stability throughout the qualifying period. The island's small size means immigration violations become quickly apparent to authorities, while community connections often provide informal monitoring that supplements official oversight. Integration requirements emphasize community participation rather than formal cultural assimilation programs. Learning about island history, participating in local activities, and demonstrating respect for Manx culture contribute to successful applications without requiring abandonment of original cultural identity. After exploring the hidden corners and authentic experiences of the Isle of Man, the question becomes not whether this island offers something special, but whether you're ready to trade the familiar complications of modern urban life for something genuinely different. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about choosing a different reality that prioritizes community, natural beauty, cultural authenticity, and financial sanity over the grinding pursuit of status and consumption that defines much of contemporary life. The math alone makes a compelling argument. Living expenses that would barely cover rent in most desirable locations provide comprehensive lifestyle here. Healthcare that would bankrupt Americans comes free. Transportation costs that cripple urban dwellers become negligible line items. But the real value lies in intangibles that resist easy quantification, the peace of mind that comes from genuine safety, the social satisfaction of authentic community connections, and the daily pleasure of living surrounded by natural beauty that requires no special effort to access. The cultural experience offers depth rarely found in tourist destinations or expat enclaves. This isn't superficial charm designed for visitor consumption. It has living culture that continues evolving, while maintaining connections to thousands of years of accumulated wisdom about sustainable island living. Participating in this culture provides meaning and connection that many modern locations struggle to create artificially. The professional opportunities may surprise those who assume island life means career limitations. The combination of favorable taxation, excellent infrastructure, and strategic location between major European markets creates business advantages that entrepreneurial individuals can leverage effectively. Remote work capabilities mean location independence for many professions, while local opportunities exist for those willing to adapt their ambitions to island scale. The lifestyle adjustments require honest assessment of personal priorities and preferences. Island life means smaller social circles, limited entertainment options, and whether that influences daily planning more than indoor-focused urban living. Shopping choices remain constrained, travel requires more planning, and anonymity becomes impossible in communities where everyone eventually knows everyone. But these limitations transform into advantages for those who value authenticity over variety, community over anonymity, and natural rhythms over artificial stimulation. The island-esque constraints create frameworks for living that many people discover. They prefer to unlimited choice and constant distraction. The timing considerations depend on personal circumstances and risk tolerance. Young adults find opportunities to establish themselves financially and socially while building careers that can develop either locally or internationally. Families discover educational opportunities and safety levels that provide children with experiences unavailable in most modern locations. Retirement-age individuals often find the island provides healthcare, safety, and community engagement that enable aging with dignity and purpose rather than expensive institutional care. The cost advantages stretch fixed incomes while providing lifestyle quality that expensive locations struggle to match. The cultural integration challenges reward those willing to participate genuinely in community life while maintaining respect for local traditions and values. Success requires embracing island culture rather than attempting to recreate mainland lifestyle in island settings. Climate considerations affect different people differently, but the maritime climate provides more stability than most temperate locations, while avoiding extremes that make outdoor activity dangerous or uncomfortable. The changing weather provides variety and seasonal rhythms that many people find more interesting than constant sunshine or predictable conditions. The connectivity balance allows maintaining international relationships and professional connections while developing deep local roots. Modern communications eliminate isolation while island life provides the focus and authenticity that constant connectivity can undermine. Making the transition requires careful planning but not overwhelming complexity. The island's immigration system, while specific, operates predictably for those who meet requirements and follow procedures properly. Professional advice helps navigate legal requirements while community connections provide practical support for newcomers willing to participate constructively. The long-term prospects remain positive for those who choose island life thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The Isle of Man has maintained its unique character through centuries of political and economic changes while adapting successfully to contemporary challenges. This resilience suggests continued viability for residents willing to contribute to community life rather than simply consuming its advantages. So there you have it, a place where your dollar stretches further than you thought possible, where ancient traditions create modern community, where natural beauty provides daily inspiration, and where living well doesn't require earning more than you can reasonably expect to make. The Isle of Man isn't perfect, but it might be perfect for you if you're ready to prioritize differently than contemporary society suggests you should. The question isn't whether the Isle of Man offers something valuable. Clearly it does. The question is whether you're ready to claim it. Comment below if you're seriously considering making the move, or if you have questions about any aspect of island life. And if this has inspired you to reconsider what's actually necessary for a good life, share this with someone who might benefit from discovering Europe's best-kept secret. Sometimes the best destinations are the ones nobody's talking about, yet